At nearly 4,800 meters down, the Bismarck's stern section slowly reveals itself through the cold Atlantic haze. The ship's name is still etched into the steel, worn by decades of salt and pressure.
The propeller lies twisted from the final violent moments before the battleship broke apart.
Every inch of the stern bears scars of catastrophic structural failure.
A massive breach in the hull exposes the ship's interior skeleton.
Even the Bismarck's secondary armament lies shattered, its steel aging quietly on the seabed. Traces of German naval insignia still cling to the steel, barely surviving 8 decades underwater.
Debris from the stern's breakup blankets the seabed in a scattered trail of wreckage.
Doors and passageways remain twisted open, frozen at the moment the stern tore away. The stern structure looms like a jagged monument in the deep, marking the Bismarck's final resting place.
We move deeper along the shattered stern, where entire deck layers have folded onto each other. Loose anti-aircraft rounds lie exactly where they spilled during the ship's violent breakup. Ventilation shafts reveal the inner collapse of the stern's machinery spaces.
Even simple ladders have become twisted sculptures under decades of deep-sea pressure.
A life raft canister remains trapped within the wreckage, never deployed.
These tight spaces show how the stern crumpled inward during its final descent.
Fire control systems lie broken and eroded, their precision long lost to the deep. Loose fragments from the ship's superstructure have settled together in a quiet debris nest. Even the railings show the immense strain of the stern's separation.
The torn end of the stern forms a jagged boundary where the ship finally broke apart.
A crushed corridor leads deeper into the stern's broken interior.
Electrical systems remain fixed in place, sealed by decades of deep-sea decay.
Hand wheels and valves sit motionless, entombed in layers of corrosion.
Deck supports lie folded onto each other like crushed ribs.
Communication lines spill out of a torn compartment, silent since 1941.
Storage lockers remain sealed shut, their contents long hidden behind rusted steel.
The railing near the stern's fracture zone shows the exact moment the ship tore apart.
Structural remnants of weapon mounts lie crushed under the stern's implosion.
Small personal traces of the crew still rest quietly in the silt.
The starboard hull reveals miles of torn steel, shaped by the ship's final plunge.
A vertical chute shows how the interior collapsed downward as the stern sank.
Tools likely dropped during the final moments now rest where they fell. Machinery components lie fused together, frozen by corrosion. Human remains appear here, still wrapped in remnants of Kriegsmarine uniform. The crewman remains trapped, exactly where the collapsing stern sealed his fate. Another sailor rests where he once stood, preserved by the cold deep. Corrosion has erased most identity markers, but the chain remains.
Personal items lie scattered from ruptured crew lockers.
The stern's interior holds silent evidence of the chaos during the ship's final minutes.
Leaving the inner collapse, we enter a larger bay of the ruined stern.
Bulkheads dangle precariously, held together only by decades of corrosion.
Hydraulic systems, once powering the stern mechanisms, now sit motionless in the silt.
A stairwell has twisted into a permanent spiral from the stern's violent implosion. Even faint lettering survives, offering a rare glimpse of the ship's internal layout.
Simple crew belongings remain scattered among the wreckage.
Structural beams sag under their own weight after decades in the deep.
Mechanical components lie frozen, locked together by rust.
Most markings have vanished, yet traces of the ship's national emblem persist.
The outer stern hull stretches ahead, fractured from the moment it hit the seafloor.
Beneath the outer hull, hidden pockets of the stern hold more remnants of the ship's final moments.
A disconnected hatch lies here, torn free as the stern was ripped apart. Steel cables remain knotted around shattered supports, stiffened by decades of corrosion.
A possible workshop space lies flattened, its tools and fixtures long lost to the deep.
The hull's inner skeleton is visible here, stripped of all its outer layers.
Pipes and conduits lie twisted, their contents long dissolved by seawater. Storage bins remain frozen in mid-collapse, their contents fused to the steel.
Barely legible labels continue to whisper hints of the stern's original layout. Mechanical debris sits scattered in quiet isolation across the stern floor.
This recessed section marks another pocket where the stern's collapse trapped machinery and debris.
A major structural split along the port side reveals even more of the stern's interior collapse. Exposed beams show how violently the stern bent and twisted during its descent.
A control wheel remains lodged in the debris, its function long lost to time.
Walkways once used by crew are now crushed into unrecognizable shapes.
A fractured gearbox sits here, one of countless pieces scattered by the stern's impact.
Another plaque with fading script offers faint clues about the compartment's purpose.
Pipes and brackets lie crushed together in a tightly compacted debris mass.
Ventilation systems remain scattered and broken throughout the stern's collapse zones. A footlocker lid lies detached here, its contents lost during the ship's violent tearing.
This fracture reveals the stern's internal layers compressed and ruptured by pressure and impact.
Below the fractured port section lies a deeper pocket where debris settled during the stern's final impact.
A collapsed toolbox remains sealed by decades of corrosion.
Small tools still sit partly visible, unchanged since the sinking. Twisted beams form strange shapes where the stern crumpled against the seabed.
A broken deck grate lies half buried, locked in place by rust. Crank mechanisms remain frozen, their moving parts long fused. Storage frames have collapsed into the sediment, faintly retaining their original shape. Electrical junctions and cables lie severed across the stern's debris fields.
A valve wheel emerges from the sediment, a silent artifact of the ship's internal systems. This lower basin shows how equipment and structure settled together when the stern struck the seafloor.
Deeper within the stern, a hidden cavity reveals more remnants of the ship's final collapse.
A bulkhead ladder has fallen sideways, welded into a single immovable shape.
Inspection plates remain where they were mounted, but corrosion hides their markings. Mechanical components lie crushed together, frozen by decades on the seafloor.
Railings throughout the stern have folded in on themselves during the structural failure.
Door hinges remain fixed into their warped positions, untouched since 1941.
Vent pipes remain trapped beneath structural ribs bent by immense pressure.
A winch assembly lies entombed in the seabed, its moving parts long solidified.
Even small brackets remain, where they once supported machinery and gear.
This chamber shows how the stern compacted from within as it plunged into the deep.
The stern's corner reveals twisted plates, peeled back by the ocean's relentless pressure.
A corroded capstan sits frozen in time, once used to manage heavy lines.
Even simple ladders show decades of deterioration in the deep sea.
Collapsed hatch frames expose the wreck's skeletal structure to the ocean.
Old signaling equipment lies forgotten among the stern debris.
Faint markings hint at the stern's compartment names and original purpose.
Pipes remain fused together, evidence of the stern's violent internal collapse.
Vent covers have twisted into unrecognizable forms over decades underwater. Small handles and fittings tell silent stories of the stern's final moments.
This corner of the stern stands as a testament to the Bismarck's violent end, frozen in the cold depths.